Welcome back, good people, to another music review at Take Clark's Garage, Take Clark's Music. Before we get into today's review, as always, like, subscribe, hit the Etsy shop, Patreon page, links are below. Comment, let's get a conversation started about some good music, talk some good jam. So today, we are going to talk about the new album from Tyler Childers, Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven? Now, before we get into this, if you've lived under a rock, you may ask yourself, who is Tyler Childers? He's from Lawrence County, Kentucky, and is, 31 years old. He is, let me tell you a little fact about Tyler Childers. The first non-major label artist to have a certified gold and certified platinum album. Album was called Purgatory. If you have not heard that, you need to go back and listen to it. So he is blazing the trail for real country artists, if you want to call that, say that term. Talk about that in a second. That's Tyler Childers. Purgatory is one of the best, if you want to call it, Americana albums that was released in the last some odd decades or whatever. To the point of country, it was classified as Americana because of the top 40 radio country bullshit that is fed down our throat. No one wants to admit that guys like Tyler, Adam Hood, many other artists really, are not country because they're not spoon-fed to us by some top 40 radio station. So, it's classified as Americana. So, let's get into this album. Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven is 24 tracks, an hour and 48 minutes and 57 seconds. Now, 3 volumes. 8 songs per volume. The same 8 songs repeat. Now, here's my take on this album. He's gone through some stuff. He's cleaned up, right, from what I've read. This represents, I won't say it's a gospel album. I'm not going to say it's a neo-gospel album because 51% of it is not about the New Testament or whatever you want to say. This is how I feel. It's broken into 3 versions, or 3 volumes. Volume 1 is the Hallelujah version. Volume 2 is the Jubilee version. And Volume 3 is the Joyful Noise version. Now, here's my take on this. Hallelujah is a primitive, if you walked into a primitive church out in the country, this is the type of music that you would find. Somewhat. It's not just old classic hymns, but it's country music styled songs without the overproduction of electric drums and all that. Now, the second volume, the Jubilee version, I feel like is what you would get in a contemporary service. If you walked into a church for the late service, the contemporary service. It's got some strings and some stuff like that added to it, some horns, things like that. Now, Volume 3, the Joyful Noise version, is what you would hear at a megachurch. This is just my take on the album, okay? And I've read some criticism about this album because really, if you look at it, Purgatory is an old song. Old Country Church that's on the album is a Hank Williams song. You got a couple of instrumentals. So really, you're only taking away 3 new original tracks. Now, could he had subsidized this as an EP or added songs? Or I even read that maybe he ain't got it in him no more, that he's blew his wad and gave us his best songs already. That's probably BS, ladies and gentlemen. From what I think, which doesn't matter for a hill of shit, is this dude is an artist. And the thing you gotta appreciate about artists is this is what he heard in his head. This was his vision, whatever you want to call it. This is what the guy gave us, right? And it's great. The first 8 songs are spectacular, even though there's another version of an old song. And even though there's a Hank Williams song, the guy still went in the studio with his band and produced this without a major label. It is selling out freaking venues across the country. And there's people like, oh, well, he should be selling out stadiums. Who cares? You can't get a ticket to see this guy, right? He just sold Red Rocks in Colorado out. And I saw a video where people were mad because he didn't play one of his more popular songs. If you're into an artist like this that's got 5 or 6 albums, he's going to play what he wants to play. That's the thing. In the jam band world that I'm in, you're used to that. Like, even a band like Pearl Jam or Dave Matthews or whatever, they don't play their hits every single night. And at first, I have to admit that I was one of them guys that would get pissed about that. I want to hear the hits. I've been to enough Leonard Skinner shows that I could tell you what their set list is going to be from the first song to the last song, damn near spot on. But then, going to the Allman Brothers shows, Widespread Panic and shows like that, you appreciate what they give you because it's artistry. And if you don't hear a song that you want to hear live, you take your ass and get a ticket and go to another show. And that's kind of the thing. It's an artist. It's his art. These songs are his art. You wouldn't want Da Vinci or somebody like that, or Michelangelo or somebody like that, to paint a single painting. You wouldn't have wanted Picasso to give us a single painting, and that was it. If the Mona Lisa was the only thing that we had to represent that one artist, his one work, then we would get tired of looking at it. It's a body of work that he's writing, songs that he's creating, music that he's giving us. So that's my rant for that. If you want to hear hits, go see a top 40 artist and let them crank out hits. That's fine. And that's cool for some people. But I like the mystique of what's on the set list. I like the artistry of being able to pull songs out of a catalog. And the feeling of getting in the car and being like, oh my God, I can't believe they played this. I've had that moment. I've had that moment at Government Mule shows. I've had that moment at Allman Brothers shows where it's like, I cannot believe they dug so deep and played blah. Right. The Dead was notorious for it. I've never seen Pearl Jam. And one thing I want to see Pearl Jam, but I know I'm not going to hear Even Flow or Live or whatever. The probability of it is very slim because their catalog is so vast. Same thing with Dave Matthews. You're not going to hear Ants Marching every night because their catalog is so vast. So please keep that in mind when you're listening to this, that this is artistry. It's not an A&R guy at a record label feeding this cat songs so he can be rich off of top 40 radio. The dude obviously is doing fine if he's got a platinum album that he did on his own. Artists like this, Jason Isbell and all that, that's doing it on their own, you have to appreciate that. You have to appreciate the work that went into it and the songwriting talent that they write in their songs. Not somebody on a staff writing it, or not a cookie cutter Nashville Music Row stuff. And that's some of the complaints that people have had about him is, we want another purgatory. He might not ever give you another purgatory. His headspace may be in a different place. His wallet is in a different place. Just think about that when you go to listen to this album. So anyways, what are my top 3 songs on this album? Because that's what I always do, is I give you my top 3. I'm only going to select from the first 8 because, like I said, it's 24 songs, all the same songs, different versions of the songs. So my number 3 song on the album is the number 7 song on the album. It's called Jubilee, 4 minutes, 29 seconds. This guy's band is as tight as a rubber band. I like the feeling of this. I like the way it flows. His voice is strong. He's pushing the shit out of his vocals. It's just a really good song. My number 2 song on the album is the number 2 song on the album. 4 minutes and 4 seconds, and it's called Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven? And what I really like about this is I like the feel of it. I like the instrumentation on it. But one thing I love is the lyrical content. If I can't hunt on God's ground, I can't take my hounds to heaven. I ain't going. So it makes you think. It's kind of got a little tongue in cheek, but it's just a good flowing jam, right, for 4 minutes. And then my number 1 song off of the album for me that I feel is one of the best songs is called Angel Band. And what struck me is right out of the gate where he says Hallelujah Jubilee, the way that the cadence of it, the instrumentation of it, and just the lyrical content of this song just sucked me in. I've been hooked ever since, and I really can't stop listening to it. So there are my top 3 songs off of the album. Overall, what do I give this album? On my scale from 1 to 5 jams, be honest, I give it a 4. The reason I give it a 4 is, yes, I know I just went on a rant about artistry and all that. I would have liked to have heard 10 or 11 originals from this cat. But that doesn't take away from the body of work that he gave us, right? So think about that. Would you have rather him given you 1 top 40 radio hit and 9 filler songs like most top 40 country artists give us? Or can we appreciate what this cat has given us for his artistry and be patient until the next album drops? We don't know. He could be writing right now. He could be writing another album right now of all original material. And we're going into the Christmas time, which usually artists are off the road. I looked at his website. He's got like 2 more shows left. Him and his band may be cranking out some badass songs right now. We don't know. So we have to take this and appreciate it while we have it and sit patiently for the next one. That's just artistry. And of course, we've got his body of work to listen to, but this is good. This is good. Please give it a shot. There you go. Can I Take My Hounds to Heaven by Tyler Childers. 4 out of 5 jams. I recommend it. And as always, stay safe out there, ladies and gents. Search for the good music. Don't let the top 40 radio just shove it down your throat. And remember that music is love, and love is music. Until next time, folks, keep jamming.